Hi everyone. At first, I wasn't going to dive into this matter of who spilled oil in the Ecuador Amazon River Delta region because 60 Minutes touched on it, and it's this contentious issue that has activists demonizing anybody that would dare tell a middle ground story. But then, in my little random sleuthing online, I found a paragraph which reported that up to 2006, there were 116 oil spills in Ecuador and in the Amazon region specifically. 116 of them. So I had to dig deeper, and I learned that many of those spills were caused by a vast number of multinational corporations. Yes, some in the United States, like Chevron, like Royal Dutch Shell, like Occidental Petroleum, which was pushed out by the country of Ecuador in 2007, but also countries you wouldn't expect, like, for example, Brazil, or Ecuador itself in the form of PetroEcuador. In fact, the most recent largest oil spill was committed this year in February by PetroEcuador, spilling 14,400 gallons of oil into various rivers within the Amazon. Now, the basic fact is that oil spills are a common way of life in the Amazon. I'm not making that up. That's from research. Again, a common way of life. That means they occur so often that it could be from the usage of tour boats dumping diesel fuel, as happened in 2001, or it could be oil spills that were caused by Chevron when it was active there up to 1992, or PetroEcuador as recently as this year, and then again in 2006, and I believe in 2003. We can go on and on and on. The trouble is, oh, and I forgot to mention, Canada. And Canada also has been responsible for oil production, but I couldn't find any evidence yet of spills in the Ecuador Amazon River Delta region. But where there's smoke, there's fire. In other words, given the vast amount of oil producing activity down there, and the fact that oil spills are a way of life in the Ecuador region, it's a safe bet that this Canadian company and perhaps other Canadian companies were involved as well. We have German companies, Swiss companies, British companies. We've got a lot of companies active in the Ecuador region trying to produce oil. Who makes money from it? The country of Ecuador, which has of late, since the election of Rafael Correa, gone on a systemic move to push out foreign nationals from direct oil production more toward joint ventures with PetroEcuador and the Ecuadorian government. Who's the winner? Ecuador. They want the money. But is it for environmental cleanup? No. Is that to say that they don't do environmental cleanup? No. But it is to report that Ecuador is more interested in oil production than it is cleaning up the environment. Amazon Watch was very good at pointing out this problem. So when you look at information in the mainstream media, it doesn't matter if it's the New York Times or the Washington Post or 60 Minutes, be sure that you're not being spun by somebody, because the complicated truth is that the blame for environmental damage due to oil spills in Ecuador rests on the hands of a number of different players, some in the country of Ecuador and some not. The trouble is that there are American activists who don't want you to know that and have a tendency to try to shoot those messengers that tell you so.